Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Jared Pratt, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Alicia Chugg. We're honoured to welcome today the recipients of the Chief of Army's Good Soldiering Award 2019. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Ryde East Public School, North Ryde, and Comaroy Road Public School, Currajong. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway lands. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who gave their lives for us in war and other operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Lance Corporal Ernest Charles Thomas. Ernest Thomas was born in 1884 in Pinjarra, West Australia, the son of Emily and Charles Thomas. Known as Ern, he attended school in Fremantle. After leaving school, he married Ella Seafold in 1907 in Girondale. By 1916, Thomas and Ella had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Thomas was working as a timber cutter in the town of Mornington Mills, cutting sleepers for railway tracks. He enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force at Bundaberg in April 1916. He undertook training at the Army Camp there for 4 months. During the early parts of his training, Thomas contracted measles and was treated in hospital for 2 weeks before being released to light duties. By October, he had fully recovered and embarked from Fremantle on the transport ship Suffolk, arriving in England in early December. In January 1916, Thomas sailed to France and joined his unit, the 16th Australian Infantry Battalion. As the weather warmed up in the spring, the British and Australian forces realized that the German forces had retreated from their forward trenches in Summer sector and have moved to strongly defended position known to the British as the Hindenburg Line. In April, Thomas's unit took part in the assault on Strong Point in this line, the French village of Boularago. The attack began at 4:30 in the morning, and Australian soldiers were to be supported by 12 British tanks. Unfortunately, by 7 a.m., all of the tanks had been destroyed or put out of action by the German defenders. Although Thomas's unit had reached their objective, they were isolated, and by midday, they had to retreat from the position. Thomas was one of only 660 men in his brigade of 3,000 who were able to leave the battlefield unharmed. During the summer months of 1917, Thomas's unit was stationed near the Franco-Belgian border. He spent time in the front line and in the rear areas, continuing his training. Thomas has demonstrated leadership skills, and in August, he was promoted to the rank of Lance Corporal. In September, the 16th Battalion moved north to the Belgian town of Ypres. There, the Australian and British forces began preparation for a major offensive with the objective of pushing the German forces out of Flanders. Near dawn on the 26th of September, Thomas's unit attacked the German lines near a small plantation known as Polygon Wood. The unit reached and held its objective within an hour, but Thomas has been shot in both legs and was badly wounded. He was evacuated to a nearby casualty cleaning station, but died of his wounds on the 29th of September 1917. He was 33 years old. Ernest Thomas's remains lay buried in the Liseberg military cemetery in Belgium, along with 9,900 our Commonwealth First World War soldiers. His wife has the following epitaph inscribed on his headstone: "Or for a touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice so still." Thomas was survived in Australia by his wife Ella and their children Leslie, Amy, Ernest, May, and their younger son Reginald, who was born in 1917 and had never met his father. For Ella, this was the second blow of the war. She had been informed in January 1917 that her brother, Private Luke Seaford, has died after being captured by the German army at Pozny in July 1916. Lance Corporal Ernest Charles Thomas is listed on the Roll of Honor on my right, among almost 62,000 of Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his stone is displayed today beside of the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lance Corporal Ernest Charles Thomas, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in hope of the better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not wear them, nor the years of condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
we forget.
lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, students, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.